The following is a presentation of TFNN. The Power Trading Hour with your host, David White. Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648 or internationally at 727-873-7618. Now, David White.
And welcome all to another exciting edition of the Power Trading Hour with me. And of course, it doesn't matter where me is or where you is, as long as is at 2 o'clock Eastern Time. And of course,
following takes place between 2 p.m. and 3 p.m.
You know, maybe we got something. I'm not hearing it, but who knows? Maybe it'll go along. I'm just glad that we've gotten this far. So what do we have going on today? Well, certainly what I suspect is that we are very close to pushing the jobs numbers tomorrow morning. And in the meantime, not much is going to go on. So I think we're kind of at the peak for the day. I went ahead and got out all my positions earlier on the day, so I'm back to being all cash. Don't like it mostly because this is kind of the high end of expectations for this week, at least for options market makers. So again, do I see a lot of downside? No. Do I see a lot of upside? No. So when that happens, I wait until the next big move, and that is, I suspect, on those numbers coming out at 8:30 tomorrow morning. In the meantime, let's do a little history and we'll move on.
Then it's all just a little bit of history repeating.
Hopefully you can hear that. I can't hear anything, actually. On this day in 1936, several U.S. pageants sounded good. The only person that can't hear it is me. So anyway, we'll figure out during the break why that is. On this day in 1936, several U.S. patents are issued for the Phillips head screw and screwdriver to the inventor, Henry F. Phillips. Phillips founded the Phillips Screw Company to license his patents. One of the first customers was General Motors for his Cadillac assembly lines. By 1940, 85% of the U.S. screw manufacturers had a license for his design. He had originally gone to Henry Ford and spent about 7 years moving, going here and there, trying to get him to buy a license for his better screw. And of course, Henry was a cheapskate. Was just besides being a horrible anti-Semite and passing out that literature in his showrooms. Oh God, can you imagine that today? He was uninspired by it, even though many people in his company had done reports saying that it was going to save them about $15 a car, even with a more expensive. License for the screws, but he'd have none of it. And kind of the modus operandi, see what I did there, for car manufacturers for forever, which is they are incredibly cheap. When we started having the problems with silicon chips and cars, we kind of find out a reason why, and that is, for the most part, these manufacturers today are still incredible cheapskates. General Motors war with the inventor of the intermittent wiper, who took 20 years to get his due and fight them, has been a kind of a tale of those big manufacturers just thinking they don't have to pay. Well, General Motors did pay, and I think by 1945, Ford Motor Company had moved on. But you know what? I could spend the rest of the show talking the pros and cons of great fasteners. I, of course, have moved on from the Phillips to the Squarehead. And is there nothing better than a Craig screw for putting two pieces of wood together? I don't think so. But, of course, I guess we probably ought to talk about the market just a little bit. 877-927-6648. The Torx. Torx is good, but I don't think you can beat that Craig wood screw for joinery. Just there isn't anything better. So anyway, we're up kind of pushing 3,900. About what I was talking about earlier. I'm a sell when you can, not when you have to. But we shall see what the job numbers say tomorrow. Options kind of show that this is, like I said, not a lot of downside, not a lot of upside. I was thinking more earlier in the day before the market ever opened, and we got to see what was going on, that maybe we'd even have a sideways day today. But, when we talked, I think a week ago or whatever it was, about buying on Tuesday after the market came back, we were buying the calls in the SPYs around 375. I took most of mine on the ones expiring on Tuesday, but I know a lot of the subscribers took Fridays. But my recommendation, sell when you can, not when you have to, so we got out today. You can always give me a call. The jig is very good, but I think the screw, they've done a lot of tests on YouTube, and actually it is the best holding screw for weight of any screw. We'll debate the different designs of them for wood and metal. But you go on YouTube, a lot of people have done various ones. That Craig screw actually is the best holding screw. But there's lots of designs like that, like those deck screws and stuff like that. But I love hardware. I could spend all day in Home Depot. Couldn't talk to anybody because they drive me mad. But I wouldn't want to answer any of their questions. But I could stay all day in Home Depot or Lowe's, just looking around at the various attachments and ways people have figured out to old shrews debating screws, says Demi. Anyway, as we said, we're going to look at some charts here. We're going to try to get through the rest of the list that I had earlier in the week. But, I'm kind of thinking that we're pretty long in the tooth in this market, and we'll get back to the rest of it. Let's see what else we have going on today. When we come back, did want to get into a few things people had about volume. We'll talk a little bit about where all that SPR oil went, which we kind of found out last night about, and talked a little bit about it in the den this morning. But there was something wrong last month when everybody was talking about this SPR crude coming in on the market in the United States, and I couldn't find hide nor hair evidence at all of a drop of it coming into, and people kept on saying that it was going somewhere. Well, it was. It just wasn't going here to the United States. We'll be back in a minute.
Of booming inflation, where your purchasing power is eroded, there's no better place to protect your hard-earned money than in gold. Vista Gold's flagship asset is the Mount Todd Gold Project in the Northern Territory of Australia. This is Australia's largest undeveloped gold project. We are talking a world-class gold project in a Tier 1 mining district. This is a large-scale, low-cost project with significant existing infrastructure in a politically safe and friendly mining jurisdiction. Vista Gold just completed the Mount Todd feasibility study, which resulted in a 7 million ounce gold reserve and a 16-year mine life. All of this, combined with the approvals of all major operational as well as environmental permits. This distinguishes Mount Todd as an attractive, de-risk partner, ready development stage gold project. Vista Gold trades on the New York Stock Exchange under the symbol VGZ.
Are you grinding in the market, but seeing little to no return? Or are you a successful trader, simply looking to make your job a little easier? Learn to take the path of least resistance with David White's powerful trading newsletter. David White is an accomplished trader whose deep understanding of technology and the markets allows him to consistently find and share winning trades. Support and resistance define the ranges in which stocks trade. By understanding these trading ranges, David White is able to find the path of least resistance. David White's trading newsletter, The Path of Least Resistance, is delivered daily before the markets open to make every trading day an easy win. Visit TFNN.com today and subscribe to David White's Ultimate Trading Newsletter for $119 a month. And try all of our newsletters risk-free with our 30-day money-back guarantee. Take the path of least resistance at TFNN, educating investors. Are you looking for a way to consistently add winning trades to your portfolio? Tom O'Brien is here to help. Tom O'Brien has been successfully trading markets for over 30 years. A frequent contributor to TD Ameritrade Network and CNBC, Tom O'Brien founded TFNN over 20 years ago to help educate investors just like you. Tom's daily market newsletter, Market Insights, is published every morning when the markets open to give you the competitive informational edge you need to succeed. These newsletters are packed full of Tom's advanced technical analysis and are geared to deliver comprehensive strategies for a successful portfolio. Get Tom O'Brien's newsletter, Market Insights, today and try all of our products and newsletters 30 days risk-free with our money-back guarantee at TFNN.com. TFNN, educating investors.
Call now, toll free at 1-877-927-6648. Internationally at 727-873-7618.
As we come back, just brushing that S&P 3900 on the cash. One of the problems I disliked yesterday was the lighter volume. We continue to see that today. We're only doing about 6.5 billion shares on the CBOE. Now, I talk a lot about the volume, and people kind of say, well, I look at this volume on the CBOE and it just doesn't all add up. Well, there's a thing, kind of a thing, and volume is tricky. I would say it's actually tough. But part of that is odd lots. A long time ago, there was a rule that you had to have 100 shares. And that kind of, as more stock manipulators would come in, they'd actually start pushing a single share or something to try to paint the tape and make it look like the high of the day was bigger than that. They started saying that at least you had to have 100 shares of any particular stock to set the high and low of the day. Well, in the last, 7 years or so, we've gotten a lot more exchanges and brokers that would sell like a single share or 2 shares of Amazon at $3,000. And those actually never came in the traditional volume that you hear a lot of people talk about. And that's one of the reasons why I like the CBOE. It's in there all the time, and why you start seeing these broad ranges and all the different exchanges and the way these things come back and add up. But what I'm saying is that you may actually see the volume that you're looking at change in the near future. Looks like they're going to start including odd lots of and do it on a dollar basis. And that would catch a huge amount of these as long as they're not on the high and low end of the market during the day. Don't know exactly what the formula is going to be, but I would say by fall, you're probably going to see, at least during the intraday part, not late in the day. Generally, if you watch the market, you're going to see that most of the market comes in about 4:15. And that's a lot of these things getting added by the end of the day and back into the volume. The actual trade may be there, but counting the volume is another thing. When I really started in 1998 being full-time, they started to mess with volumes during the day. And by 2002, they were double counting and single counting to make sure that you really couldn't see what was going on in the market. By 2005, they had outlawed that, maybe 2004. And I think the exchanges got on them because it made the bookkeeping incredibly tough to figure out because people were counting them twice or not counting them at all. So volume's always been one of the things that's kind of hard to really mess with at the big scale. But on the small scale, at least other than those couple of years, it's been something that I've kind of hung my hat on. But anyway, odd lots are going to be kind of a thing in the future. Duct tape and WD-40. God love them. I talked maybe a month or 6 weeks ago when the Strategic Petroleum Reserve was a thing and it was in the headlines. And I kept on wondering why we hadn't seen prices actually dip here in the United States. I had a friend down in Louisiana and he told me about the papers getting involved on the EPA not letting Rhodes be put into the SPR down in the Louisiana ones to get the oil out and back into and rig, at least temporarily, pipes over to the bigger pipelines so it could go back up to Oklahoma. And they'd been fighting it and wouldn't let the big trucks in and everything else. And I was assuming that there wasn't any oil coming in because you could look at the numbers from the government and see that there wasn't any more oil coming in to the United States that would say, another 1.5 million barrels a day or something was coming in from the SPR. Well, we found out from Reuters in a random act of journalism that it all went to China and Europe. But not a peep on why or where or maybe that. But, when you wonder why, when it went to $5 and $6, why nothing changed with the SPR, well, none of it was coming here. And can't get a peep or anybody to ask why. But now we know. Reuters article actually even buried. It took me a big amount of time to actually find it, and I just happened to have some scans up looking for articles on that and found it. But that's it. Anyway, you can give me a call today, 877-927-6648. We're going to get to some charts here. Toot sweet. If we don't have much more. Okay. So we got that. Let's go ahead and get rid of that. Let's go ahead and pick up some charts. One of the bigger movers out here today, about 7 or 8%, is the proverbial dead cat bounce. No word on whether or not Beyond Meat uses cat. I'm sure that they would say no, but I'm up to spreading the rumor that they do. But the dead cat bounce, probably, this is another thing, as I've seen a lot of these stocks bounce off the bottom with very light volume into previous highs. That makes me think we're back into some trading room. But, if you were good enough to buy under $22 on June 13th, you got a whale of a move out here to 31.58 today. The downside, you got 4 million shares going into about 10 million shares for the May 13th high. And my guess is that I think we even talked about this looking fairly good for a bounce. And I just didn't take it mostly because I like meat. So my prejudice didn't allow me to go long on this. But this is one of the best lows out here. And I always talk about kind of that whole thing about more of a rule than a suggestion kind of thing. What was that? Can I find it? I'll find it here. But it's more of a rule than a suggestion kind of thing. you want lows to be tested. But if you get a 22 million share low, like you did on May 12th and Beyond Meat, and you test it with 3 million shares, that's telling you everything. I do like that the energy, you had a small bounce up to 28.88. You had some decent energy. The energy did fade, showed by my power law vector indicator. Then you had yet another big low on light volume. I didn't see any signal right there to buy, but you got into the 15th and you were coming off the lows. In fact, the low of the day on the 30th was 23.17, and move up higher. Looks like a short squeeze to me, but light volume, you got to buy it. We'll be back in a minute.
If you want to take advantage of this sector, now is the time to subscribe to my Gold Report. The Gold Report is a comprehensive look at the metals sector as well as the markets that move gold, which is the currency and bond markets. New subscribers get a 30-day money-back guarantee, so you have nothing to lose. Every Monday morning, I publish the Gold Report with coverage of gold, silver, bonds, the XAU, HUI, GDX, as well as more than 30 different mining equities. To see for yourself the types of profitable trades that are recommended within the Gold Report, sign up now by visiting TFNN.com. Don't miss out on the next great gold trade. Sign up today.
Sharpening your skills as an investor is like getting better at playing a musical instrument. You have to practice, sure, but you also need excellent instruction from experts. At TFNN, you'll get advice and guidance from the authority in technical market analysis. And it's not just dry, tedious text either. TFNN airs live financial content streamed live on TFNN.com and TFNN's YouTube channel with Tiger TV, live every market day from 8:30 a.m. to 4 p.m. Eastern. For free. Each host is an experienced trader and gives their take on the market while taking calls and questions live from around the world. From the moment the market opens until the closing bell sounds, Tiger TV has 8 different shows with expert hosts to help you make the right moves with your money. Watch online at TFNN.com or on TFNN's YouTube channel and become the investor you were born to be. TFNN, educating investors.
TFNN is excited about our new software charting program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts. In collaboration with Tom O'Brien and using his best-selling book, The Art of Timing the Trade, Your Ultimate Trading Mastery System, David White has programmed an outstanding piece of software that will complement any trader's methodology. Using this first-of-its-kind program, The Art of Timing the Trade Charts allows you to scan thousands of stocks for Fibonacci formation setups, including Gartley's, ABC's, butterflies, and much more. The Art of Timing the Trade Charts is designed to help you when scouring the markets for stocks just beginning to form the trading patterns that many investors spend days, weeks, or even months searching to find. And right now, we're offering licenses available at only $79 a month. We are so confident that you're going to love this new charting software that will even give you a 30-day unconditional money-back guarantee. Don't miss out on this incredible new piece of software. Get your copy of The Art of Timing the Trade Charts today by visiting TFNN.com.
This segment is brought to you by Thinkorswim. For more information, just click the Thinkorswim banner on the front page of TFNN.com.
And we're back. Take a look. We have here, well, 3901, so we've broached 3900, but again, yeah, I'm kind of worried about the jobs numbers in the morning. I think you're probably getting a little off the tips of our skis here, but again, I don't see a whole lot of downside, so other than selling this pop, I'll kind of sit on my hands until we see those numbers in the morning. Again, 877-927-6648. Yeah, would have been a better example if I would have bought it. But certainly, those are the ones you can make a lot of money on. And I looked at it, and you know what? I just couldn't pull the trigger, probably because I know too much about it. That's almost better when you take a piece of masking tape and put it over where the name of the stock is on your screen. If you've ever pulled that trick, get a piece of masking tape and put it over right where the name of the title of it is, and just go through as many charts as you can and try to ignore anything you might know about the company. Question from Randy about Apple. Haven't looked at it. I almost thought that, man, yesterday's downgrade of Apple by Goldman Sachs seemed almost like a cry to buy it, but don't know. Not a lot of volume. Again, I'm starting to think that we've got a fairly nice trading range setting up. You came off 129.04, which is the June 16th low. Now you're back up in a lot of days that had 69, 67, 72 million shares, and you got 42 million shares. So you're bouncing on light volume. If you're bearish, I'd say that the problem with being a bear for 99% of them is that once they get a taste of that sweet, sweet love and money, because it's so fast on the way down, that they don't know that markets can bounce and bounce for a very long time before you get a signal. But I would say if we come down on any kind of volume on the next run, then we could bust it. But I'm thinking almost now that anytime the street hears Goldman Sachs say buy something, they just start selling. And if they start saying sell something, they start buying it. I think we've gotten to that point, haven't we, where they just do anything. We talked about on Friday Planeteer, and it continues to move well. It is through the previous high and kind of holding it. We only have about 27, 28 million shares now. We did have 54 million shares going against that 41 million share high of June 8th. So, and you had 67 million shares into it on the 24th. So this thing continues to start bucking the trend around $10. If I'm wrong on being more in a trading range and that we're actually off the lows and going to go higher for the rest of the year or something, I'm going to say that you want to watch this thing after it bases out a little bit. Okay. We've got a lot of cards in the den. Okay. Question of if I can look at gold real quick. GLD. We'll do that real quick. Try that correct. There's nothing else other than you're back into this big gap, which is going to be support. You had 11 million shares and 9 million shares on previous lows. Let's go back a little farther in that gap, which kind of disappears over the long term. Just slightly right there. There you go. It's a slider, couple of gaps out here, and as far as I can say, very tough. You're at lows, about the same volume. Generally, tie goes to the runner with light volume going to the bulls. I do like that, at least in this GLD, the energy did come down a little bit. This is really where the Power Law Vector Indicator in my Art of Timing the Trade Charts program starts making some money. And that is the first leg off the top came down with a 5.8. The next one comes down with a 5.1. Now we're down to a 4.5. You can see the energy kind of coming out. And probably the easiest explanation of how that works is just imagine that you're getting charged for electricity. It is both time and how much power that they're actually pulling in. And that's kind of a calculation to probably move both of those together. Now, it is a calculation to move both of those together that I wrote just to get kind of a rough indication of just how much energy there is. But, 5.8 to a 4.5, is it less? Yes. Is it enough to really get me started? No. but probably the first sign of life today is sideways on almost no volume in the GLD. Big pop in Tesla, and happy twins to Elon Musk. I think it was twins. Of course, I think this is his 8th child. Did I hear right? Or 9th? And he kept it hidden for 8 months. So, guess he's going to have to have a lot of money to have 9 kids. I don't think they're all anywhere close together at the same time. Maybe that's the saving grace, that they all can't scream at once. But, you always wondered what he did for fun. Well, apparently it's having kids. Anyway, a nice pop up. And, of course, this is on China actually doing extending rebates and tax cuts to anybody actually selling EVs in China. Now, the problem is they still don't have enough electricity to go around, and a wickedly bad problem with pollution. But 90% of the airborne pollution in the world right now is India and China. And everybody tries to act like if they do something here, it's going to make a big difference. We are a very small part of that. Not like the 1970s. We were going at it rather madly, but we're just not much of that anymore. And it's almost, I think it's about 40% India and about 50% China right now as the biggest country putting out stuff into the atmosphere. So they continue to push that fairly hard. They have the same problem. Interest rates are going up. So if someone's buying a car on some kind of payment plan in China, it has gotten a lot more expensive there too. And that's one of the reasons why they've gone for reducing the price of cars artificially. We'll be back like a bad rash, and we'll get into a lot more charts.
Are you in the market for buying or selling real estate in the Bay Area, including the surrounding St. Petersburg, Tampa, and Clearwater markets? Tiger Real Estate LLC is a firm that has extensive experience in the Tampa Bay area. Whether you're looking to sell your current property for maximum value, or you're in the market for a second home or investment property, Tiger Realty has the experience across all areas of real estate in the Tampa Bay area to help buyers and sellers make the most informed decisions across all price levels. From the price you should be paying per square foot in certain up-and-coming areas to the type of cash flow investment properties are capable of creating, Tiger Real Estate can help you make the best decision when it comes to all areas of the market. Before you make one of the biggest decisions of your financial future, call Tiger Real Estate LLC today at 727-329-8322 or email us at tiger@tfnn.com. That's 727-329-8322. Call us today.
The technology around us is changing every day. With so much happening, it can seem impossible to keep up with all the information. David White's investment newsletter, The Technology Insider, is designed to give you all the information you need to understand the technology that shapes today's markets and tomorrow's future. David White has made his living staying on the cutting edge of technology. His weekly newsletter will give you specific recommendations for value tech stocks, as well as entry prices, target prices, and stops to set for each trade. Dave delivers his weekly newsletters every Friday with updates throughout the week. You can get the Technology Insider at TFNN.com for only $37.50. Sign up for David's newsletter, The Technology Insider, and get an inside look at everything the technology sector has to offer. Try it risk-free today with our 30-day money-back guarantee. TFNN, educating investors.
Are China A shares hot or not? If you trade China A shares, now may be time to take a closer look. Trade CHAU or CHAD, Directions Daily CSI 300 China A Share Bull and Bear ETFs. China A shares in either direction. Visit directioninvestments.com today. An investor should consider the investment objectives, risks, charges, and expenses of the Direction shares carefully before investing. The prospectus and summary prospectus contain this and other information about Direction shares. To obtain a prospectus or summary prospectus, please contact Direction shares at 866-476-7523. The prospectus or summary prospectus should be read carefully before investing. An investment in the funds is subject to risk, including the possible loss of principal. The funds are designed to be utilized only by sophisticated investors such as traders and active investors. Distributor Foreside Fund Services, LLC.
This program is brought to you by Vista Gold, traded on the NYSE American and TSX under the symbol VGZ.
As we come back, we're going to look at a few more charts. I wanted to get back into some of the ones and see how they did with a light volume that we looked earlier. We started off the top. We really didn't get back into many of them, but let's see. Let's go back here to the Royal Caribbean, which was making a low on lighter volume. Now, not so much. A 12 million share low on June 17th, $34.10. About 12 million shares, getting into it with about 9 million shares. So it is lower. You got 7.5 million shares yesterday, about 5 today. But again, kind of like natural gas, I'm not a big fan of being long these late in the summer. These really tend to turn around somewhere around September, October, when people start booking again. And of course, the reputation for the SS Petri dish hasn't gotten a lot better, but it's one of the best values for vacations, and my guess is they will come back. But at this point, I'm not a big fan of jumping in just yet on these. There's a lot better fish in the sea than Royal Caribbean or Carnival. But probably starting first week of July here. 1st of September isn't really that far along. I do have a question to ask about whether or not. Let's see what we have here. See something about here. Yeah, that was the article. James posted it earlier in the den. Yeah, you can say it. What were they thinking? I do not know. Okay, what else do we have here? Okay, Rivian, of course, been in the news a bit. Also acting like it was getting ready to bounce a bit. And another one, I probably should have looked at the chart a little bit, but man, I wanted that test to 1925 for May 11th. You had 53 million shares. You got it basically to the top of it with 10 million shares, and that's all she wrote. Now we're back up, but the volume is not as bad as one would think. June 2nd high had 21 million shares. We got 20 million shares today. You're not going through that. You got another buck higher to go than June 2nd, but another pullback on light volume might get me interested. Again, a lot of innovation in that company. I don't know if it'll ever get to the bottom line, but certainly all the features, or a lot of new features that they came up with are going to be in cars and trucks for forever. We talked about this one, I think, a little bit on Friday. Ross Stores as a great example to look at low volume of previous lows. May 20th, $69.49. Got into it with about 5 million shares. So that's telling you that it's all dried up. I do like the power law number on this, about 10 on the way up to the May 27th high, and only about a 4.6 on the way back down. And one of the things you may want to look at the ratio of these great low volume lows, and they do tend to look like this. That is, this thing's got 5 days up and 15 days back to the low with no volume, and test the previous low with no volume. That's kind of the big pattern out there. So am I expecting that this couldn't once again find $70? It probably could, and you may have a better low out here to rebuy. Not big on buying companies in that. You can always give me a call at 877-927-6648 or email me at path@tfnn.com. Got a question probably about deliveries like Dash, Uber, and Lyft. I've seen them charge a lot for delivery. This is mainly a business in a large city in the United States. They operate in other towns. I think they do. I don't know a lot about them. I don't use them. I can look at the charts, but I think Uber was one of the first ones that started looking a little bit better, and vaguely in my memory out here. You're at least back into the trading range. You did have 55 million shares on the 16th of June, which broke the previous low of May 25th. But you are kind of going out here sideways for a while. Of course, yesterday, Amazon made some kind of deal with Grubhub. Are they still around as that? I can't remember what the deal was on that. Didn't seem to do much. Take a look at Amazon. Amazon, Apple, Facebook. Don't know if you see it. In fact, I had it on my list of stuff to talk about today and didn't get it. But it is there, and that is that Europe has passed two different laws, and they put it together with a thing that they call a package. And it is a bunch of more restrictions. They've been talking about it for about the last 6 months and voting on it and massaging it. But they have passed it as of yesterday or the day before. They may have passed it on July 4th, and I didn't bring it back up. But somebody called in or emailed me about why these companies continue to do so poorly, like Google and Facebook. These guys are all running into laws getting stricter and stricter, and they just kind of ignore them and pay the fines and move on. But one of the things you don't like about Google today is that the last low came in at 1.8 million shares. You got about 1.3 million shares so far today. I think restrictions in the next year are going to be a lot of these executives in front of House investigation committees next year, and certainly in front of a great deal of European bodies where they don't have a real compunction of putting actual people in jail. Over here in the United States, we say, well, you can't throw a corporation in jail. Well, they got kind of a little different view over in Europe about it, and it may take a few people going to jail for Google and Amazon and others. And I wonder, if it's going to be kind of like Russian oligarchs coming to the West. Is it going to be Amazon and Facebook and Google and others avoiding Europe for the idea that maybe they're going to find themselves afoul of a lot of the laws that got passed on Monday? But I do digress. We'll be back to wrap up the show in a few minutes.
Vista Gold owns and operates the largest undeveloped gold project in Australia, the Mount Todd Gold Project. Vista Gold just completed their feasibility study, resulting in a 7 million ounce gold reserve. Vista Gold has all major permits approved and has retained CIBC capital market assistance in evaluating alternatives and in completing an accretive transaction. Vista Gold trades on the NYSE American and TSX under the ticker symbol VGZ. Vista Gold, executing a strategy to create shareholder value.
You might think that if you want to be successful at trading in the stock market, you're going to need a crystal ball. After all, it's impossible to predict the future, right? Like any endeavor in life, before you decide it's impossible, get some advice from the experts. You might find that it's not so impossible after all. For daily market overviews that give you direction on the key indices, selective stocks, and commodities, subscribe to the Opening Call newsletter at TFNN.com. The Opening Call newsletter is written by Basil Chapman, creator of the trading methodology known as the Chapman Wave. The Chapman Wave up-down sequence gives you an edge in identifying price turns, finding the peaks and valleys in stock prices. Get the Opening Call newsletter by Basil Chapman in your inbox every day. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know, and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. TFNN.com, educating investors.
Everything in the universe is governed by the Fibonacci sequence. This mathematical principle is responsible for everything from the most aesthetically pleasing artwork to patterns in the stock market. To stay on top of stock patterns you can take advantage of, sign up for the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter at TFNN.com. When you subscribe, you'll get a weekly report from veteran day trader Larry Pesavento on stocks you need to pay attention to. And you can trust Larry's analysis. After all, he's got 45 years experience as a day trader. Larry will also provide daily charts, videos, and data on the key markets that he's tracking. Expect notifications from Larry on market movement you need to act on at any time. First-time subscribers also get a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you're not satisfied, let us know and you'll get a full refund within 30 days of signing up. Subscribe to the Fibonacci 24/7 newsletter today. TFNN.com, educating investors.
TFNN has launched the Tiger's Den, hosted at Discord. TFNN has been educating traders for more than 20 years with live programming hosted by a variety of professional traders during market hours. The Tiger's Den, available to all tigers and tigresses for just $1 for the year. There's no catch or added costs when you join our community of traders. Sign up today and become a part of this educational community of traders. Just visit the front page of TFNN.com.
Catch Tom O'Brien, professional trader and educator, founder of TFNN. Also, a special guest on CNBC. Tom will bisect and dissect the markets. The Tom O'Brien Show, next on TFNN.
And we have a brave individual in the den asking whether or not Clack and some of these SMHs have bottomed. You certainly have a nice gap up higher, but I think a lot of that is short squeezes in these various stocks. NVIDIA, AMD, all up smartly today. You bounced back into this trading range. You broke down below the previous low that had 3 million shares. So you really had what Wyckoff would call a false breakdown off the 3 million share low of June 17th. You're back into that trading range now. So as long as you stay above 304.94, I'd say yes. Let's take a big look at Micron, which has been fighting around these lows out here. Downside on this one, and one of the reasons why I'm still a little reticent to pick a low in the SMHs, it still has a high volume low that has been untested. That's at 51.40. Let's take a look at the SMHs real quick as we come back. I think this is kind of like the first rally, which is kind of unprepared in the SMHs. You got a gap today, but I dislike it because you don't have a lot of volume following it yet today. My guess is you're probably going to get at least a pullback to around that 195, 196 level in the SMHs and fill this two-part gap, the gap from yesterday up to today, and yet there's still a part of a gap from the gap down from the 30th to the 1st of July. So you jumped it, but you didn't do it with volume, which generally indicates that you're going to come back and at least try to refill that gap. Sell when you can, not when you have to. We'll see you here tomorrow. Same bat channel, same bat time.
Building wealth trading in the stock market seems impossible.